Sports clips, haircuts, VFW Help a Hero 200. Long sponsor title for this very short race here today at the Darlington Raceway for the 8th race of the NASCAR Xfinity Series season in the year 2025. Couple of Cup Series regulars going double duty this weekend with the trucks off, but Xfinity in full action today. Obviously, Cup race tomorrow afternoon at the Lady in Black. And we will see why that name is the Lady in Black, because today we are going to be seeing drivers ride the wall for the entirety of this 200-mile race. Some will get against it, but those who are going to be able to not get against it the most will be up towards the front of the field in contention for the win in what is a stacked and competitive field here this afternoon. Appreciate you tuning in. This is our second live commentary stream of the day. We just wrapped up practice in Cup Series practice and qualifying earlier this afternoon, and now leading into our Xfinity Series race coverage. Our scheduled distance today is 147 laps, 45 laps in both stages 1 and 2, and that will get us to the end of the race where the final stage will be just 57 laps. So very short race. Again, one of the shortest on the NASCAR Xfinity Series season, just 200 miles. And we will go through the starting lineup for today's Help a Hero 200. Starting off with row number 1, JGR sweeping the front row. Christopher Bell on the pole in his first Xfinity start of the season, trying to go from the pole and get the victory in his double duty action this week. Brandon Jones outside of the front row in second has had great runs with JGR in the Xfinity Series in the past here at Darlington, and we'll see what he can do here today. Justin Allgaier has won the last 2 Xfinity Series races. Will start inside of row number 3 as he goes for 3 in a row. And Taylor Gray will line up on the outside of row number 2. Austin Hill got the win last week, not Justin Allgaier. I apologize for that. But Allgaier is still going for his 3rd win of the season. Taylor Gray will start on the outside of that row, of course, robbed of a win late last weekend at Martinsville. Led the most laps in that race, looking for redemption here today. Sam Mayer and Carson Kvapil will line up in row number 3. Row number 4 for Daniel Dye and Chase Elliott in the 17 car for HendrickCars.com in that Chevrolet. Larson in that car a couple weeks ago led the most laps at Homestead. William Byron kind of struggled a bit in his Truck Series race last weekend at Martinsville, but we'll see what Chase Elliott can do in his lone Xfinity start of the season. Christian Eckes will be on the inside of row number 5 alongside Sheldon Creed, who is another driver who has had some great runs at Darlington in the Xfinity Series in years past. And Jesse Love, who is in the 2 car this weekend, looking for win number 2 on the season. Sammy Smith, who was a part of that late race fiasco last week, of course, with Taylor Gray on the final lap. Final waning restarts will start in row 6 as well. Row number 7 will be Chris Wright and Harrison Burton. Nick Sanchez, Connor Zilich back in row 8. Row 9 for Ryan Sieg and Jeremy Clements will round out the top half of the field. Austin Hill in row number 10 will actually have to start at the rear of the field today. Ended up getting up against the wall in practice, as a result of which major repairs were made to that race car and did not make a clean qualifying lap, I should say, with that being said, and he will be moving to the back with the adjustments made. William Sawalich will also start mid-pack alongside Hill, or at least scheduled to when Hill moves to the back of the race. It won't be the case, but anyway, Sawalich will also be in row 10. Row 11 for Matt DiBenedetto and Jeb Burton. Brennan Poole, Blaine Perkins in row 12. Ryan Ellis, Parker Retzlaff, row 13. Ross Chastain, another driver running double duty for Junior Motorsports, his 2nd start for JRM this season, alongside Garrett Smithley in row 14. Row 15 for Josh Williams and Dean Thompson. Josh Balicki, Anthony Alfredo, row 16. Row 17, Leland Honeyman, Kyle Sieg. Row 18, Mason Massey, Nick Lights. And rounding out the field will be David Starr and Greg Van Ulst in row 19. 38 cars in both the Xfinity and the Cup Series races this weekend. And again, that is your starting lineup for the race. Chat poll is open, and that will close at the end of Stage 2. Asked you, as usual, who you think is going to win today's NASCAR Xfinity Series race, and again at Darlington Raceway this afternoon. And in that chat poll right now, we have had 21 votes already. 33% of those votes taking Chase Elliott for the dub. Again, Elliott will be rolling off 8th. Justin Allgaier at 24%, along with other, and surprisingly, the poll sitter today, Christopher Bell at 19% of the votes. Bell will be my pick for the win, at least for the Xfinity Series. I'm not going to take him to win the Cup race tomorrow, but I do have him winning this Xfinity race. And my bad also, I was kind of thinking Kyle Larson was going to be in the race this weekend. I was wrong on that. Chase Elliott is in the 17, and just didn't see the speed in the practice times for him specifically earlier this morning. I didn't get to watch practice or qualifying, but looking at the speed chart prior to the start of this race, it definitely seemed like he was lacking a bit, especially in the longer runs, compared to the JGR Toyota, specifically Christopher Bell, who will be rolling off from the pole position. Bailey Kramer, Frank Powers, Emogene Blevins, William Wiley, and others, welcome into the stream. As usual for the Xfinity Series so far this season, our chat goal will be to get to 50 likes on the stream here today. So again, 50 likes. Is what we're shooting for today. And we did get to our like goal during the practice and qualifying live commentary stream for the Cup Series. Shift this over a little bit so I can center the leaderboard up. You can see it on the left side of the screen. Yeah, working with the new raw feed for this year. Gonna make a quick edit on the scrolling Tron at the top of the screen. There was a cutoff period on there where Eric Almirola's name was on the stage wins. Okay, that's all fixed and ready to go. Lights are out on the pace car. They will be going green this time by. David Singleton, welcome to the stream. And Bloody Burke Productions, also welcome to the stream. All the NASCAR Heat 5 content. Season 2 series, appreciate that. Digging into the archives for that content. Alrighty. This should be a fun one. I think this is going to be one of the better Xfinity races of the year. Much needed after last weekend's race at Martinsville and how that turned out. I'm sure we'll see a much better product here today. Can't wait to bring you the action. Pretty good crowd on the front stretch here at Darlington Raceway for the Xfinity Series as well. And leading to the field of the green again is Christopher Bell outside row 1 for this initial start. Green flag is in the air and we're underway in the Help a Hero 200. Already launching to the lead into the first turn is Bell up on the high side of the racetrack, clear by several car lengths off the exit of turn 2 with his teammate Brandon Jones singling out in second. Loose moment on the high side behind them for the other JGR Toyota, Taylor Gray, in that outside lane. Runs door to door with the 7 of Justin Allgaier. As they run side by side with each other down the front stretch, still trying to break clear of one another. Gray wins the battle, and now it looks like Sam Mayer will move into 4th. Allgaier slides in line on the outside behind Mayer in 5th. Getting right up on the left rear corner panel of Sam's race car, getting into 1 and 2. We'll see if Sam will budge. Could get aero loose in that situation, but it didn't look like Allgaier was able to take the air off the rear spoiler. Mayer pulls a little bit of a gap between himself and the 7 behind him. Christopher Bell leading the opening 2 laps of the race from the pole has already opened up a half a second lead over Brandon Jones. And again, 0.7 of a second back to Taylor Gray in 3rd. 1.2 seconds to Sam Mayer 4th. Justin Allgaier 1.3 seconds off the lead in 5th. Got some throwback schemes obviously this weekend for the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series action. I have to go downstairs for a second. I'm on dog duty and I can hear the dogs going at it. I think they're fighting over a toy.
Executing on track. Nice Parker Carson Flopple. That's a throwback to your win. You talked about it in our starting lineup. Behind him, they are racing hard. You got a veteran and a youngster, 17, Chase Elliott, and the Wheeling on board. You're riding with Jesse Love.
Yeah, it's so hard to keep the throttle down in the position Jesse Love was in right there. On the flip side of that, it's really sketchy being on the outside of turn 2 on the exit. It's a little bit rough. If you step over the line, you get in the marbles and can get into the wall. Really fast section of the racetrack. It feels fast. I mean, maybe one of the fastest corners, sensation-wise, that these guys will feel all year long.
It's going to be interesting to watch who has it over the long haul. And the setup for this race is very, very interesting. Opening stage is 45 laps, second stage 45 laps, but it will be shorter after we cycle through the caution at the end of stage 1. And then the final stage, is 57 laps. I mean, it's much shorter than what you normally see. And so that changes the way you approach this race. And the balance that you have over the course of the run is going to be significant. Taking care of these tires is huge here.
Yeah, and Adam, I would tell you that if you interview any of these drivers, they would tell you I'd rather have a good car on the long run because you're helpless at a place like Darlington. Bell's car last year was really good on the short run, and then it would go loose, and that's not what you want. But it played into his favor because we had a caution late in the race. His pit crew did a good job. He had a short run to the finish, and he was able to capitalize on getting a win. But, you see Jim Burton sliding up, pitches Harrison Burton into the wall right there. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum. Almost like Jeff thought maybe Cousin was going to give him that one, and then Harrison was like, no, I'm not giving it to you.
Well, their dads have been really good here. Warren and Jeff have multiple wins at Darlington. Both have secured Southern 500, and both these drivers throwing back to their dads and their success in racing. Jeff driving that 27, paying homage to his dad at his first career Cup season. Harrison in the 25. And boy, this is tight race.
Well, in full disclosure, I got a little tongue-tied because we had Jeb Burton, we had Harrison Burton, then we had Ward Burton's car, and we had Jim.
Third for making the pass on the inside. Kurt Busch throwback to the 2017 Daytona 500 win is the throwback scheme for Sam Mayer this weekend, and we'll be seeing highlights of most of those schemes throughout the field today and as well as tomorrow during the Goodyear 400 NASCAR Cup Series race. A lot of cool ones for the Xfinity Series. I'd say from most of the field, I would probably put the Xfinity Series of my favorites. Got a Matt Kenseth Dollar General throwback up at the front of the field for Brandon Jones on the 20. Same card number on that one, obviously. I think that shines very well. Gray in danger of losing another position, this time at the hands of a current JRM Chevy. And that would be the 7 of Justin Allgaier. Gray more than 2.5 seconds off the race lead as he puts the battle to Justin. Taking a look to the inside through turns 3 and 4. Slide job maneuver engaged. All clear off the exit of the corner for the 7. 54 with the crossover will get to the inside. And as they head for turn 1, it looks like Gray's just going to back out of the throttle early. Give the 7 the line on entry. And live to fight another lap as he's continuing to fade backwards, burning the tires up a little early in the run. You can definitely tell Gray's car's way more looser than those around him. That back half of the corner, looks like the rear of the car is slipping out from underneath him a lot more than the other cars that were in the picture on that last camera angle. Obviously, Allgaier, who just passed him, and then the 2 bearing down on him of Eckes and Elliott. Jones has closed in on Christopher Bell in that battle for the lead, and it's only within a couple tenths of a second of each other. Of course, Bell not running the Xfinity cars on a week-to-week basis, like all the Xfinity Series regulars. Qualifying on the pole, we'll see if he can manage the tires well. JGR on the Cup Series level side of things really struggled with tire management on the intermediate tracks at Vegas and Homestead. And for this race specifically here today, obviously the front 2 are still first and second. But the quickest car on the racetrack the last several laps has been that of Brandon Jones. Another 10th closer to Bell after that last lap ticked by. Quite a bit of tire fall off already too as well. About 10 seconds, or sorry, not 10 seconds, 2 seconds of fall off in over 10 laps. Just completing lap 14 at the start-finish line right now. So 14 to 15 laps into the run, 2 seconds of fall off for the faster drivers in the field. Side-by-side commercial break currently airing on the CW. And we are still under green in this 45-lap opening stage. And 45 laps in stages 1 and 2, 57 in stage 3 today are the stage splits. And 22 likes on the stream. Again, greatly appreciate that from everybody. 25 now as they refreshed it. Quite a bit of battling still going on right in the middle of the pack, nearly 3 wide off turn 4. Bit of a scrape against the wall for the 26 of Dean Thompson. Running a Jamie McMurray Roush Fenway Racing 26 car throwback scheme this weekend. With Jamie McMurray in the booth, of course. There's a few Jamie McMurray throwbacks this weekend. That being one of them. While Jones has been close behind Christopher Bell, he hasn't been able to get underneath him in the battle for the lead yet. Though he is very, very close. His lap times have still been matching, if not just a bit quicker than the driver in front of him. The longer he takes to pull out a line and try to make a pass for the lead, though, Sam Mayer is starting to close the gap from third. That last lap, Sam Mayer ran just as equal of a lap time to that of Brandon Jones, still quicker than Bell in front of him. And he's only 1 second off the race lead, which would be about 0.8 of a second behind the second place car of Jones. 13 positions gained for Ross Chastain since the start of the race, up to 14th after starting 27th, is the biggest mover in the frontward direction since the start of this event. Austin Hill, who had to drop to the rear of the field for the start of the race today, is up to 21st. 24 positions lost for Daniel Dye, back in the 30th place position, is the biggest loser of those from the start of the race as far as most spots lost. Chris Wright also back 11 spots. And 24th, coming off a top 10, is right at Martinsville a week ago. Bam Hall, welcome to the stream. Almost halfway through stage 1 in this NASCAR Xfinity Series event. Big time side draft there for Sheldon Creed in the 0-0, pulling out a line into 1 and 2 to try to make the slide job pass on Carson Quapple, who is in another one of those Jamie McMurray throwback schemes, and he is able to complete the pass. Right in the center of the corner, it looked like he was going to be nowhere close to getting around him, and I think Quapple had to lift in the second half of the corner, because not only the 0-0 pulled clear, but also the car that was battling just behind him also gets by the 1.
The CW Sports coverage of the Sport Clips Haircuts VFW Help a Hero 200 at Darlington with Jamie McMurray. I'm Adam Alexander. I don't know what games are being played at the front, because if you're Christopher Bell, you want to take care of your race car. But regardless of what he's doing, Brandon Jones not going away.
No, Jones is staying right on him, but if I'm Bell's spotter, I'm telling him about the 7 car, because Justin Allgaier has consistently been the best part for the last 6 to 8 laps by quite a bit. I mean, he has run these guys down by quite a bit. It'll be interesting to see if he can make quick work of Sam Mayer, and it just seems like that 7 car is one of those cars really good on the long run, and I'm surprised by that, because when I watched practice, I didn't see him have that much pace. Look how close he's getting to the wall, riding that all the way around the corner. He has a lot of confidence in his car to be able to get up there and ride, especially in dirty air, that close behind Sam Mayer. And he likes this bottom lane. You see almost like sliding up in front of Sam right there. And I would tell you that Justin's history in the series gives him the benefit in those situations. Everyone knows he's not a super dirty racer. You see Jones now going by for Bell for the lead. Did he complete?
Oh, he got loose.
Oh, did you see the wiggle?
How loose he got right there.
He was there, and just when you're starting to think about sliding up off the corner, it got away from him, and that loss of momentum going to open the door for Justin Allgaier. Here he comes for second.
Yeah, this has been his best passing zone. He's got by the last 3 cars this way. Had that huge run off of turn 2 because of how loose Brandon Jones got. Going to lose that momentum down the front stretch, but Allgaier's going to have some momentum right here. Just going to be in the preferred positions. Cautions come out.
Well, we're halfway through the opening stage, and we get our first caution. And that's too bad. It's for Chris Wright, who's coming off a career best last week at Martinsville and was solid earlier today in qualifying, driving that 5.
Yeah, that's a big hit for the 5 car. Looks like that whole right front is pushed in. He was running. Oof. That's not a strike.
That's a
pancake.
there.
Yeah, that's are you okay? Yeah.
Well, this brings up a very interesting scenario, because we lay out the circumstance for all these drivers. You have 4 sets of tires laying in the pits. and you got to take care of him, and you want to have 2 land at the final stage. However, so start thinking about this. There could be some drivers that come here that realize we can drive through the field on fresh tires and have a chance to really make some ground at the end of the stage. Some will say we're going to stay out and ride it out and make sure that we have got tires for late in the race. So not sure exactly what crew chiefs are thinking here, but a couple of different scenarios could be in play.
Stage racing changed the whole dynamic of this, because if there weren't stage points, there's no way you would pit right now. But there's a lot of guys that have that option. If you don't think you can get stage points throughout the day, or you think you're going to run in that 15th position, maybe you do pit here if you're in the back, because you're going to drive up to the front. The pace has fallen off by almost 2 seconds at this point. So you could, if there's the caution, drive up there, get stage points, maybe even get a stage win.
Not sure what role it plays, but 36 cars still on the lead lap. Free pass goes to Greg Van All, so we'll end up with 37. Only one that will be a lap down. We get set to go back. Green flag racing. Chris Wright, who of course brought out the caution.
And this saved a lot of guys.
Josh Williams got.
I'm going to say that's a tank slapper. Probably got loose at some point. Got into the right rear, and it's knocked that bumper cover off. But they'll be able to get that back on. And they're required to have that back on here.
Yeah, you hate this for Josh, who throughout the year has been very, very consistent. The only time he finished outside the top 20 is when he had to get out of the car when he was ill at Las Vegas. Now we take a look at Carson Quapple's Race Fit Health Report, brought to you by Brestree. Interesting young driver and doing all the things he needs to outside the race car to be successful on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I kind of reading through that, and I know Carson a little bit. I've spent some time with him. I don't know how believable all that is from him. I feel like there could maybe be some sweets involved in his diet, but look at that little chicken and rice. I think that's always a go-to for guys before a race.
I mentioned this earlier, and you talked about it during our starting lineup. The throwback 2010 when you won the Daytona 500.
Yeah, it was such a special day. My first race at Earnhardt Ganassi to win the Daytona 500. All those guys we just all met. Ran the biggest race of the year. And if you look at the back of that car, it says "Happy Fishing" right there below the wing on the COT card, and that's what it says on the back of Larson's car as well. But we ran that car in the Clash earlier in that weekend, and it said "Kiss My Bass" on that, and Johnny Morrison, the guys, kind of felt like that maybe wasn't the most appropriate thing to have, so we put "Happy Fishing" on it.
Not many coming down pit road. One that is Harrison Burton, Dylan.
And you see that right side damage there from that contact with cousin Jeb earlier. So no love lost there as he makes his.
I love that sicko throwback.
On exit, called it snappy loose. So they're going to make a couple changes just to try to help him feel a little bit more secure behind the wheel of that throwback to his dad, the old Citgo number 2099 car.
Gives up the 16th position, does Harrison Burton, to come down the pit lane. Christopher Bell continues leading under caution stage 1 in Darlington.
I actually have a die cast of that Citgo paint scheme, but that is not the die cast that I'll be showing during the live commentary streams this weekend. I got to keep it with the Darlington throwback, so I have throwback schemes only this weekend of some of the die casts that I have on the collection behind me. Bradley Thomas, welcome to the stream. $20 laps to go in stage 1. Christopher Bell is the race leader. He's led every lap from the pole so far. Whoa, what do we have here? Quick pop-up. My leaderboard disappeared. We're back. Justin Allgaier just took over second place right before the caution flag came out. Getting by Brandon Jones, who had a failed pass attempt on Christopher Bell for the lead. A lot of the drivers up at the front of the field stayed out of the pits conserving a set of tires. They will have 4 sets for each of these teams laying on pit road at their disposals throughout the course of this 200-mile race today. So Bell, Allgaier up at the front of the field. Behind them, Brandon Jones, Sam Mayer, Taylor Gray, Chase Elliott in the top half dozen. Christian Eckes, Jesse Love just beyond that. We'll go over the season standings for the NASCAR Xfinity Series before this next restart. Justin Allgaier currently leads the season points, 41 points ahead of Sam Mayer, 47 ahead of Austin Hill. And only those three drivers are within one race worth of points that could mathematically take the points lead here today at Darlington. 71 points back for Sheldon Creed. And fifth in points, Jesse Love, minus 74. Minus 100 to Connor Zilic. Eric Almirola, despite running 3 less races than the rest of the field, is 7th in points. Ryan Sieg 8th, Carson Kvapil 9th. And Jeb Burton rounds out the top 10. As far as the playoff standings itself goes, we have 4 drivers locked in with wins. Obviously, Almirola not running the whole schedule, so his win does not account for the playoffs. 2 wins for Austin Hill and Justin Allgaier right now. 1 for Jesse Love and Connor Zilic. 12 drivers qualified for the Xfinity Series playoffs. Sam Mayer, the highest in the point standings without a win, again is 2nd in points. His teammate Sheldon Creed just behind him. Ryan Sieg, Carson Kvapil, Jeb Burton, as I mentioned. Daniel Dye up in the top dozen in the playoff standings. Taylor Gray, Sammy Smith would round out the top dozen. A 1-point difference between Sammy Smith and Brandon Jones for the last playoff spot. Laps led on the season, that statistical category leader is Justin Allgaier, 269 points for him. Most stage wins on the year for Austin Hill, who has 4. Most top 10s on the season, Sam Mayer was 6. Most top 5s on the season, each of the top 3 in points of Allgaier, Mayer, and Hill have 5 apiece. Bo Smith, Brett Whitesides, and Ray Bixler, welcome to the stream. Like listening to Jamie, you talk about Jamie McMurray? In the Xfinity Series booth, I like Jamie McMurray and Parker Kligerman when they're both up there. I think it's just a 2-man booth this weekend, though, with Adam Alexander and Jamie McMurray, so I'm not sure why Parker Kligerman isn't there. It's the second time he's been missing from the Xfinity Series booth. They had Kyle Busch up there for the Vegas race weekend as well. Showing a replay of what happened between the 5 and the 11, which caused our first caution of the day. The 5 of Chris Wright got up against the wall. Had the 11 car underneath him when he came off the wall, clipped the right rear of Williams, which is why the back bumper cover was torn off, leading for Williams to have to make that unscheduled pit stop. And obviously, the 5 had pancaked the wall, maybe knocking him out for good. Bell will restart as the leader. Old tires for those at the front of the field. And a better launch for the guy on the inside, Justin Allgaier, as he takes the lead into turn 1. 19 really struggled to get going there, and Justin Allgaier is going to be set free by several car lengths in the middle of 1 and 2. I mean, he's got to be at least 5 car lengths ahead off the exit of the corner. Bell was able to hold on for second after pinching off the 54 of Gray, who tried to get by him. Contact between the 2 JGR teammates battling for third of Gray and the 20. And as they run side by side off of the exit of the corner, Gray not going to win the battle down on the bottom. He's going to get freight trained by several cars behind him. Both the 41 and the 16 get by as well. 15 laps to go in stage number 1. Ross Chastain, who started deep in the field, is nearing the top 10 as he pokes to the inside of the 48 of Nick Sanchez. Chastain started all the way back in the 27th place position today. And he's already up to 8th. Moving forward in the Junior Motorsports Chevrolet, after not having a great qualifying effort, race trim is looking good. One of 3 Cup regulars in the field. But it's the Xfinity Series regular of Justin Allgaier leading the way. And obviously last time we saw a Cup regular run in an Xfinity race, Kyle Larson at Homestead, it was Allgaier getting the win on a late race overtime restart. 3 wide entering turn 3 at Darlington. This could get nuts. Sieg in the middle and the 39 slides up, almost gets the 8 into the wall. And the car that was down on the bottom of both of them, which was Kyle Sieg in the 28, was able to pull clear. Leaving the 8 and the 39 to still run door-to-door with each other for position. Allgaier's lead is 1.3 seconds over Christopher Bell. 1.7 seconds back to Brandon Jones in third. Sam Mayer 2.3 seconds off the lead in fourth. Christian Eckes 2.6 back in fifth. Harrison Burton in sixth, 3.9 seconds off the lead. Chase Elliott 4.2 seconds back at seventh. 4.4 back for Ross Chastain in eighth. Kyle Sieg up to ninth. Good run for him. 4.7 seconds off the lead. Taylor Gray 5.2 seconds off the lead from 10th. And since the last restart, Harrison Burton up 22 spots, 21 for Kyle Sieg. They both took tires during that first caution of the day. So with their fresh Goodyears, that's why they're moving upwards at such a quick and rapid pace. Harrison Burton just moved his way up to fourth that last lap. I think that might be my favorite scheme from this Xfinity race. Is Harrison Burton's throwback to the old Sitco scheme, Slipping on my speech. I swear to you, I'm not tired like I usually am. By usual, I mean in recent weeks. I did not work today. Ring the bell. Ring the bell for Christopher Bell? Well, he's in second, so we can't be doing that right now. Harrison Burton's got about 11 more laps to try to get to the lead and put himself in position to win stage one. From 2.5 seconds back, it's definitely feasible. And as for Kyle Sieg, who was on a very similar strategy at Homestead, pitted late in stage one trying to steal stage, got passed on the final lap, ended up second in the stage. He is in seventh. Should be able to at least get some stage points. He's definitely not going to fall back any further. Harrison Burton going to get by the 20 of Brandon Jones, and that is a pass for second. 2 seconds off the race lead with 8 laps to go, this time by at the line. Bell almost clipping the left rear of Brandon Jones as he tries to get back around him for third. Loses time after the near contact from the exit of turn 4. Couple cars bearing down side by side behind him into one of Eckes and Mayer. Eckes entered on the bottom. Now he slides wide in the middle, and here comes Kyle Sieg in the fresh tires to get by Eckes. Sieg should be able to get up into at least third as he darts to the inside under the 41. Should be able to get by him. Christopher Bell going to slide up as well on the high side. Exit of turn 4, Sieg clears them each. So Kyle Sieg up to fourth, and again, Harrison Burton in second. Last lap, Harrison was about 0.8 of a second quicker than the leader, Justin Allgaier, on the just over 20-lap green flag fresher tires. Godzilla Legendary 2078, welcome to the stream. Second faster, he'll get there. Yeah, he's definitely looking like he should get there. The Innocent Culprit, welcome to the stream. Why am I back here? Because you love the content, that's why. Appreciate you tuning back in. And here comes Harrison Burton for the lead in turn 1. He'll have 6.5 laps to go down the back straightaway. Burton not going to be able to clear him off the exit of turn 2 here. He's still set in line behind, but in prime position to now for sure make the pass in 3 and 4. The tire advantage here, there's really nothing Justin Allgaier can do. And after getting up against the wall real early in the middle of the pack for Burton, can salvage at least something of a good point stay if he can win this opening stage. Kyle Sieg has since gotten to third. He's still 2.5 seconds off the lead. Burton again couldn't clear off turn 4. He's got plenty of time to make the pass with Sieg having the deficit he has to the leaders. And finally, Burton is clear off turn 2. And Justin Allgaier's got nothing for a crossover with the tire disadvantage. Brendan Poole, also on a strategy of pitting before the end of stage 1 during that caution, is up to 5th. And he should be able to get to at least 4th. As he gets by the 20 of Brandon Jones that last time off of turn 4. Now Poole is up to 4th place. Brendan Poole had a 4th place run last weekend at Martinsville. Part of that late race fiasco, if you will, on the final lap coming to the checker. Benefited from it. Throwback scheme from the Jeff Gordon All-Star race of 2001 on that 44 of Brendan Poole this weekend. Allgaier still holding on to second. He's got a 1.5-second difference between himself and Kyle Sieg. And Poole's actually running quicker lap times than Sieg right now, so he could be in danger of losing a spot before the end of the stage, before he even has a chance to catch Justin Allgaier. Anthony Alfredo also took fresh tires. He is the last of which that ended up taking fresh tires trying to get to the top 10, along with Josh Bilicki. Alfredo to 6th. And Bilicki just cracked the top 10, passing Christopher Bell 4:10. So a couple of those Cup regulars here. Bell 11th, Chase Elliott 12th. Bell led from the start of the race on the pole, but once he lost the clean air in the track position after spinning the tires on the restart, he continues to fall backwards, and he was in danger of losing the lead. He had 3 cars bearing down behind him at the time of the caution, only 20 laps in, so they're going to have to go to work on that 19 to get him better for the long run. Harrison Burton's gap over Allgaier just over 3 seconds. Brendan Poole does catch and pass Kyle Sieg on equal tires with a couple laps to go in the stage. For position, Chase Elliott going to get by Christopher Bell as Bell continues to slip in the wrong direction. And quickly, with fast momentum down the backstretch into 3, the 00 will slide up in front of Bell as well. Sam Mayer up against the wall in 3 and 4, and pretty significant at that as he loses several positions off the exit of the corner. Coming to the final lap of stage 1, and that right front tire looks to be down on the 41. He was battling with Ross Chastain when he got up against the wall, and looked like once he got in it the first time through the center of 3 and 4, it sucked him in, couldn't get off of it. Tire flat again on the 41 of Mayer. As he tries to limp it back around, he should stay on the lead lap with this being the final lap of the stage, so he won't have to make the unscheduled pit stop. Under green flag conditions, he can do it under caution and repair whatever damage he had. Mayer was running up as high as the second place position real early in the race. But not anymore in the top 10. Harrison Burton on pit strategy will end up winning stage 1 here today at Darlington, a track where his dad and uncle won a couple of times in their NASCAR Cup Series careers. Good start to the race for Harrison. First stage win of the year for him. It's been a strong start to the year for that 25 team. Gotten a couple of incidences along the way in the race last week at Martinsville, so this is a good fix. Just the very next week. Second in stage 1 was Justin Allgaier. Brendan Poole 3rd, Kyle Sieg 4th, and Anthony Alfredo 5th. Brandon Jones 6th. 7th place for Christian Eckes. Josh Bilicki 8th. Ross Chastain 9th. Sheldon Creed gets the final stage point in 10th. And that rounds out the top 10 in stage 1. Again, 1 point per position for the stage's playoff point to the stage winner, along with 10 regular season points. Again, Harrison Burton. And Harrison Burton, after a couple of rough finishes the last 2 weeks, is 15th in points, so those 10 regular season points could be big for him. It's actually the second stage win of the year for Harrison Burton. I apologize on that. Stage win number 2 on the season for Burton. Is Bilicki full-time? I can look real quick. I don't know if he's ran every race in that 91 car or not. No, he hasn't, because I'm pretty sure Chastain ran the 91 at one point. Unless it was a 92. I definitely know he ran a race or 2 for Mario Gosling already this year. Yeah, okay, so I was right on that. Chastain probably made a start or 2 in that car. Bilicki's ran 5 of the 7 races, so no, he's not full-time. The 91 car, though, specifically is going for owner's points, because I can guarantee that 91's higher than 30th in points. 32nd. Actually, they're further behind in owners than what they are in drivers. I was not expecting that. It's because the 17 that's only being ran by Cup cars is ahead of it. There'd be one other team ahead as well that's had Cup regulars in their cars. I'm trying to find it. There's the one that's sticking out to me. It would 26 Sam Hunt Racing, I believe. Because hasn't Corey Heim ran that car a couple times this year? Maybe that's the one. It's got to be it. Look back at the driver standings real quick. Dean Thompson's in the 26. He's ran every race. I know Corey Heim has ran a couple of Xfinity races. That must be the 24 car then. So 24 ahead is the next question. Trying to get to the bottom of this before they come back from the commercial break. We're not missing anything at the moment. Pit stops haven't started yet. I don't know. No, 24 is behind him. I'll figure that out at a later date.
You buy Progressive. Save when you bundle home, auto, and motorcycle insurance. Visit Progressive.com. Golden Corral. Corral honors our nation's heroes. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Opening stage is done at Darlington. Let's get our gold moment. Brought to you by Golden Corral. I said Justin Allgaier was able to hold off Brennan Poole for second in the stage by that. What does this say though about Allgaier, who didn't? He was kind of holding off Burton a little bit, and he was able to maintain second in the running order in the stage.
Yeah, it was incredible to see how fast the 7 car's pace was on old tires. By far the best car on that run.
Let's go to Progressive Pit Road. Pit stop's happening now, Kim.
And Justin would agree with that, telling his team, great car. He said, though, on the refire, it felt like he had a lot less grip and lateral. 4 fresh Goodyear tires. They were going to make a right side air pressure adjustment. You see things on your screen that's Brennan Poole and that Jeff Gordon Looney Tunes that drove back. Got there on tire strategy. A little bit better, he said, with long run, not out after great career. Dylan.
Harrison Burton all the way down here towards pit out. On that first run before they pitted, he said he was snappy loose. Then once they took tires and he drove to the lead, he came back and said, I'm just a little bit too tight now. So wrench goes in the back window, right rear chassis adjustment, 4 tires and fuel on the 25.
And we'll get the race off Progressive Pit Road, and it's a big one. And we're going to have a change in front. Brandon Jones, +2. Justin Allgaier holds serve. Full delivers. Harrison Burke, -3. Shelton Reed for +5. Restart to begin stage 2 at Darlington.
All right, so Brandon Jones wins the race off of pit road up at the front of the field. I believe the top several that pitted before the end of the last stage actually stayed out, so that way they're not having to use an extra set of tires. But with doing that, they could be in danger of going a lap down before the end of stage 2 if we don't catch a caution. So it's a bit of a gamble after staying out to get those stage points back in stage 1. As it looks on our leaderboard, they did pit. I definitely know Brendan Poole hit pit road because I saw that 44 car down. It looks like all of the 5 drivers who pitted at the end of stage 1 with the caution midway through the stage ended up pitting this time. So they're only going to have 2 sets of tires left the rest of the race. And everybody else who did not pit other than those 5 will have 3 sets. Got David Starr at the front of the field on our leaderboard. He might have stayed out waiting for everybody to pit and cycle in line behind them. Because of the caution right in the middle of stage 1, nobody went a lap down on track. Chris Wright's the only car off the lead lap, but that's because he is out of the race, who brought out the first incident after pancaking the wall, along with contact with the 11 of Josh Williams, though Williams continues on the lead lap. So again, Harrison Burton, stage 1 winner here today at the Darlington Raceway. You're listening live to the NASCAR Xfinity Series race here at the Lady in Black on KRC. We'll take our first break of the stream. And again, you have until the end of stage 2 to vote for who you think is going to win the race. 63 votes have been casted so far, 32% taking somebody other than Chase Elliott, Justin Allgaier, or Christopher Bell for the win. I do think if Brandon Jones gets to the front of the, not Brandon Jones, if Ross Chastain, I was thinking that JRM 9 car, and I was thinking Brandon Jones. That was the last 2 seasons, but I do think Chastain, if he gets track position, he can be competitive because he was working his way from deep in the field. He got by both the other 2 Cup drivers in the field, Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell, before the end of the stage after starting 27th, where Bell was on the pole, Elliott started 8th. Sam Mayer was quick for the short run. Now he's out on the racetrack. I'm trying to figure out why he's the leader. He had to have pit when pit road was closed, so I don't think he should be out in front. Because he just hit the wall right at the end of the last stage. And if he pitted for tires, then pit road would have been closed with 2 laps to go in the stage as well. So he shouldn't have been able to restart the front there either. We're going to have to need some further confirmation on that, but I am a bit confused. Brandon Jones obviously won the race off of pit road. Probably just have to wait for, okay, so we just had to wait for Mayer to serve the penalty. Brandon Jones again is the leader after winning the race off of pit road. Very good crowd on hands for this Darlington race this weekend. Very warm in April, early April. 83 degrees during practice qualifying earlier. 87 degrees right now. Similar temperatures for the Cup Series race tomorrow. That feels like a summer afternoon in early April. Definitely the warmest race that we've had so far this weekend. Not this weekend, but this season. Across any racetrack.
The simulator practice, that can feel much different than the race. He said his biggest tip here, though, is to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Ken?
I'm not the only one slipping on my speech. I feel better about myself.
Driver update. Brandon Jones winning that race off pit road.
That's good.
Good start, P1. And let's make it a Toyota team update because we really owe this race off pit road to the pit crew. They did take 4 tires on that stop. They have been one of the best pit crews all year long. In fact, Sam McCauley has reiterated that to me. He reiterated it to the team before the race started. Said fast car, fast pit crew, fast driver. Now, guys, let's see what he can do from P1.
And you mentioned Sam McCauley. He's never won as a crew chief in the Xfinity Series, but I was reminded this week he's one of the many crew chiefs that has won with Denny Hamlin at the Cup level. So
I remember that.
It's rare. You've won as a Cup crew chief, but not in the Xfinity Series. This is his 2nd year on the box. Last year worked with Shelby Creed. This year, Brandon Jones at Jovi's race.
And if I'm Jones on this restart, I kind of think about how good that 7 car has been on the long run. I want to get out in front of him and see if I can get control of the race. If I'm the 7 car, I'm not panicked about getting to the lead right here because I know how fast my car was at the end of that long run. If it gets spread out right here in stage 2, man, this car was so good at the end of that one.
All right, so green flag back in the air. Brandon Jones outside of row 1. Justin Allgaier inside of row 1. Green flag back in the air. Jones was the controlled car, but looks like Justin Allgaier is going to take the lead into the first turn. Great job by the 7. That's 2 restarts in a row from the inside of row 1. He was able to get out to the lead. Nobody on a fresh tire advantage this time, so he should be able to hold on to it, at least for the shortcoming. Harrison Burton, after winning the stage, has track position up in 3rd, right behind Brandon Jones on the 20. And looks to get to his outside for 2nd. Got pinched almost against the wall off the exit of the corner. Just enough room for Harrison Burton to make that move to the outside of Jones. Christian Eckes in the 16 will follow for Colleague Racing. How about Christian Eckes up to 3rd? His best run in the early going of this race is right here at Darlington this weekend. And Brandon Jones in 4th. I was about to call Brandon Jones the 9 again, but he is the driver just in front of the 9 car of Ross Chastain. I was mentioning about Chastain looking very quick there through stage 1 if he gets track position. Well, here he is up in the top 5. Not in the lead with the clean air necessarily, but he's close. Harrison Burton must have had a great run off turn 4 Took a shot for the lead in turn 1 on the other end of the speedway. Got to the inside of the 7, couldn't complete the pass. And because of failing to make the pass attempt, now the 16 of Eckes will strike in 3 and 4 again. And Eckes is up to second. Chastain just behind those two in 4th. Brandon Jones 5th and 6th is Brennan Poole still holding on strong after getting stage points in stage 1. Again, a part of that pit/tire strategy from the middle of the stage. Chastain making a pass for 3rd on Harrison Burton. Brandon Jones trying to do the same, but he couldn't clear off of turn 4, and he's side by side with the 26. I'll tell you what, something else that's confusing about Throwback Weekend. I see these throwback schemes, and I know a lot of the throwbacks. And I wanted to call the 26 of Harrison Burton, 25, excuse me, of Harrison Burton. I wanted to call him the 99 because I see that paint scheme, and automatically in my brain, I think it's Jeff Burton. It doesn't help that they have the same last name either. So I look down on the scoring pylon on the CW's leaderboard, and I see Burton. Even though there's an H there, it's kind of hidden behind my cup, actually. Depending on what angle that's sitting in. Cup's blocking out the H part of the Burton. Chastain going for 2nd. Pass attempt is being made in turns 3 and 4. Lap 14 of 45 in stage 2. Lap 59 of 147 overall in the race. And the pass is complete. So Chastain up to 2nd again. Started back in 27th place. He was able to get up to 8th by the end of stage 1. And now up to 2nd and looking speedy. Didn't even put him in our chat poll. I guess technically he'd fall under the other category, but is other even leading the way right now? They are, 32%. Taking somebody other than the 3 that are in the poll otherwise. 69 votes. Again, that will close at the end of stage 2, which is only another 30 laps from now. 3 wide, Chase Elliott on the outside, Connor Zilich on the bottom. And it was Jeff Burton in the 27, smack dab in the middle. Burton had to get out of there, let the 2 cars around him go into turn 1. Smart move there by Burton, who is a veteran at the Xfinity Series level. He's been around for a while. And he does have 1 career win in the Xfinity Series at Talladega in a rain-shortened race back in his college racing season. Oddly enough, I was actually at that race. One of the few Xfinity Series races I've seen in person. Got to see Jeff Burton win. Showing the 3-wide battle that I was just talking about on screen. Apparently they had contact with each other off of turn 4. All 3 cars coming together at once. Elliott, who was on the I side, was able to keep it off the outside wall. And unfortunately, just a lap and a half later, Jeff Burton's got a flat tire. It looks like the left rear is down. And he has made it back to pit road, and they will have to burner set. And because it's under green flag conditions, Jeb's going to fall off the lead lap. Now, with the fresh tires, he might be able to make enough time back up through the field. He could unlap himself before the end of the stage, depending on how lengthy this pit stop is. Although I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen, because he's still down on pit road, and the leaders are just getting into turn 1. His pit box was towards the front entrance of pit road also, so he might end up falling a couple laps down here. He didn't look very eager to try to pull that fender out on the left rear as the gas man was still fueling up the car. Battle for the lead between the Junior Motorsport Chevrolets of Justin Allgaier and Ross Chastain. More battling for position going on in the back half of the top 10. Taylor Gray, Carson Kvapil, Jesse Love. 3-way battle for 9th with those few cars. Base Tugboat 2675, thanks for tuning in. Prefer the graphic on the CW broadcast to be at the I like the layout of it, but I do agree if it was at the top, I don't think it'd be taking up as much space for what they're showing on camera with the actual racing product. So I feel like with the overlap of it, if it's on the top, it's kind of taking up more of the sky than the actual racetrack, if that makes sense, especially with various angles that they end up using. So I'd definitely agree with you on that one. I could see your point. Middle of stage 2, exactly halfway through it. We'll go through the full field running order now while the CW is taking another commercial break. Again, Justin Allgaier with the lead, 0.8 of a second now ahead of Ross Chastain. It's a little bit quicker than Chastain that last lap to extend his lead slightly. 2.2 seconds back to Christian Eckes in third. Brandon Jones 2.3 seconds off the lead in fourth. Harrison Burton rounds out the top 5 in fifth after winning stage 1. So not only a great pit strategy call for Burton and Poole, but they're still both up in the top 10, holding strong on equal tires as well. As Brendan Poole's in 6th, Sheldon Creed 7th, Christopher Bell 8th. After starting on the pole and leading the first 20-plus laps, has not led since. Carson Kvapil is in 9th. Jesse Love is in 10th. 11th for Taylor Gray, Sammy Smith 12th, Ryan Sieg 13th, Chase Elliott 14th, and Anthony Alfredo 15th. Nick Sanchez 16th, Austin Hill 17th, Connor Zilic 18th, Daniel Dye 19th, and Sam Mayer in 20th. Josh Bilicki 21st, Kyle Sieg 22nd, Parker Retzlaff 23rd, Matt DiBenedetto 24th, William Sawalich is 25th, Dean Thompson 26th, Ryan Ellis 27th, Leland Honeyman 28th, Jeremy Clements 29th, and 30th is Josh Williams. Mason Massey 31st, Garrett Smithley 32nd, Blaine Perkins 33rd, Nick Lights 34th, David Starr 35th, Greg Van Ulst just went a lap down in 36th, Jeb Burton 2 laps down after he was on pit road with a cut left rear tire earlier in the stage, and Chris Wright, the only driver out of the race, will finish 38th as he is off track following an incident back in stage 1. Almost exactly halfway through this event here, 5 lead changes, 2 cautions, 1 for incident back in stage 1, and then the lap 45 stage yellow. Our second stage will end at lap 90, 13 laps spent under the yellow through the first 71. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Darlington. As soon as they come back from the current commercial break on the CW, I'll let you listen into their broadcast once again. 20 laps to go in stage 2. Current battle on screen is between Carson Kvapil and Sheldon Creed, which is for 8th. Kvapil, who was battling Love and Gray, was able to not only get by both of them, but pull away to catch the Creed car. So Kvapil getting better on the long run. Chase Elliott back in 13th, surprisingly, in this one. It's up in the top 5 for a brief moment off the very start of this race, and that was it. Now he's outside the top 10. Bell's back up to 6, so he's recovered a little.
Right here, Justin Allgaier leading. And Ross Chastain got up there, and at one point I thought was going to pass him, and is now almost 2 seconds behind. It really puts an exclamation point on how good the 7 is on the long haul. There you see Chastain, and behind him, good battle for third, Eckes and Jones.
Oh, it's been a great battle, and Allgaier reminds me of Larson at Homestead. Kind of can maintain at the beginning of a run and almost teases those guys with like, yeah, we're going to be able to stay with the 7. But then as they get going, it's a 10th, it's 3/10 one lap, and he's committed to running right against the wall, so very comfortable with his car.
Brandon Jones has led a couple of laps today. Won the race off pit road to get the lead before he started. He's throwing it back to Matt Kenseth, 2013. That was Matt's first year at Joe Gibbs Racing when he won
Incredible year.
7 races.
Yeah, incredible year. It's such a great looking car. So many memories, I feel like, for all of us watching, seeing Matt win all those races and all of his years at Joe Gibbs Racing, Hall of Famer. It's cool to see Brandon contributing such a legend with the sport.
Well, and I'm so happy for Brandon because you look at what he's done this year. Comes back to Joe Gibbs Racing, and you're curious what's it going to be like for him? Because Junior Motorsports just did not bear a lot of fruit when he went over there. And the reality is this season did not get off to a great start. But the last 4 weeks, they have really, really performed. Didn't get the finish they deserved last week at Martinsville, but across the board, they have served notice. They can be a part of the equation. A good run today will build some comfort above the cut line, and he'll be one of those drivers we're starting to talk about as a playoff contender.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because you want to get the result, but I would tell you for confidence and team morale, running well, even if you don't get the finish, builds as much confidence as anything.
And he's right behind the 16 of Christian Eckes, rookie driver, running third right now, Dylan.
Well, we saw Christopher Bell back there at the end of stage one, and we heard that he was really, really free. Car was just over rotating, and we have some visual proof of that as well at the tires that came off of the car after the end of stage one. So he was struggling with the balance, and you'll see that here. This is the right front. You can see on the left side of the picture, that's the right front outer sidewall that is sort of blistered or delaminating, whatever term you want to use there. So that was what he was struggling with, and that's why he fell out of the top 10 after leading for almost 30 laps at the start of this race. So a little bit better here. He's been able to drive back into the top 10. But as we said, running that Rick Hergel tribute car that means so much to him. Rick was a guy that basically kind of put him on the map on the national scale, and was served as almost a life mentor after they went their separate ways driving wise. So somebody who means a lot to Christopher. Rick passed away in 2024, but
I had no clue he passed away.
We're here the entire weekend supporting Christopher, so he's got his name above the door. And
One of the originals of the World of Outlaw series.
Car in victory lane at the end of the day today, Tim.
Well, Dylan, as we talk throwback siege, let's check in with Corp Retzlaff, currently running in the 21st position. Look at that Kodak throwback car, and some a number of drivers ran the Kodak colors. This specifically is a throwback to Ernie Irvin's 90s Kodak car. The team on the 1991 Daytona 500. One of the best looking throwbacks in the field. And the craziest part about this, we're talking about that 1991 wing. Where is Corp Retzlaff? Not even more. It started in 2003. And
Oh my gosh.
this has been a great learning experience for him throwback weekend.
Hey, I've been highlighting Kim.
2003.
Car. Christian Eckes has been great. And you know what? You get one test as a rookie prior to your first start. He said, I'm going to come to Darlington. And that kind of surprised me because there's only one trip to Darlington on the schedule. They've obviously made the most of it because he has been really, really good all day long, practice, qualifying, and here in the race, up to second around Chastain.
Yeah, and they've had a great year, but when you look at their races, that car's been destroyed, I feel like, after so many of the races, but they've been able to get pretty decent finishes out of it. You know, he's learning the Xfinity series cars, which are different than the trucks, but he had so much success in the truck series. Dylan, do you have more on Christian?
I do. I talked to him just a little bit ago, and he said everybody is mad that these first few weeks went. Last week was a good step for us speed-wise. Well, we have an entirely new approach this weekend. He said, and I quote, we've gone from Limp Bizkit to Bob Marley. And I listened to their trailer today, and they were actually listening to Bob Marley. And for what it's worth, I've been in their trailer a couple times this year. The mood was noticeably lighter in there today, and I think it's showing. This is the best run consistently, I think, that they've had from start to finish, at least for now. So really, really good. Remember, Christian did his rookie test here in January. He said that's been a huge, huge help for him already this weekend.
I mean, this was a team because of the back-to-back DNFs that needed stage points. They got some stage one in position to do it in stage two, and that will go a long way to put them back in a good spot when you start looking at that playoff cut line. Chase Elliott trying to get a couple. He drives around Brennan Poole. David Starr in the 53 was there as well. He's a letdown.
Yeah, he's been 3 wide on the top, and now he's
My
3
goodness.
on the bottom. At 17 car, a bit of damage on the right front, but looks to me like the pace is good, and he's been able to generate big runs off the top of turn 4.
Comeback continues for the 19, trying to race his way through there. What great battle there. Carson Quapple fighting him on the inside. There goes Quapple by.
Yeah, Carson. I'm not sure who's passing who right there.
I mean, it's
to me,
been
like
back and forth.
The one was pretty aggressive right there of getting back by him. I would have thought if the 19 had that run, that I'd let it go. So you like the one pretty good right now. Going back to the tire on Bell's car, as tough as that is to have high wear issues, at least it's at the beginning of the race, because typically that gets better as the track rubbers up And you knew something had to be wrong because Bell ran so well at the beginning of that run, and he was just fading like crazy at the end. So that made me feel a little better on my situation. But it's hard to adjust on your car when we have that issue because you don't know that at the time you're making the adjustments.
Austin Hills had a lot going on today. I mean, you think about the way qualifying ended, you have to start this race. His McLaren deals with some issues mechanically even before we go green. They've been all over the place. He's 17th, and look out, a full handful as he comes down the backstretch.
I think it's good that they both got loose because they kind of were parallel to each other as they got loose off of turn 2. It's really rough over there. You see those cars get up from underneath so many guys. Sanchez doing a good job running that high line, generating that big run down a front stretch. I thought they were going to run a little better based on practice and that first long run. I mean, he was the top of. Go back and take a look right here. These two guys coming off turn 2, kind of what's the same move at the same place. But Sanchez was good on even the 15 lap average. But he had to go out in that first session. You just wondered if we get a false read on that car based on the track being green.
Let's go to 48 throwback. And this is an interesting, so many times you do it NASCAR to NASCAR, but this one NASCAR to IndyCar and throwing it back to 1975. Bobby Unser in the Indy 500, his second of 3 victories there. And the connection, his car owner Scott Morchetta had such a relationship with Bobby Unser, was proud of this paint scheme, no doubt about it, entering this weekend. Let's get some 48 radio. Rookie right now running 16.
You know, the one common thing that you hear from so many people at this track, and everyone fights it, is the front never turns good enough, but it's always too loose. And a lot of that just comes down to the lack of rear grip. And then when he talked about the two ends being different, almost always freer in turns 1 and 2 because of it being a wider sweeping corner than what you have down in 3 and 4. And this track does offer some options. You know, if you're tight, you can move down and run a little lower on the racetrack. See the 42 car of Anthony Alfredo. When you get your left sides below those little white hash marks, the car will turn a little better. It de-wedges it, helps it free it up just a little bit. And if you're too loose in 1 and 2, that corner just seems forever long. Trying to get the throttle down and get a good exit.
Starting to think about, free pass opportunities. And we talked about the situation for Jeb Burton, who had the unscheduled pit stop. He's now 3rd in line. And look at those that could get the free pass, going to be 4th. Blaine Perkins, the next car that will go a lap down here, he scored in the 33rd position. So, we've got a situation where it's going to be tough to get that free pass if you're Jeff Burton, and may have to implement some strategy or get a run of cautions. And this race just doesn't feel like it's going to play out that way. Had the caution middle of stage 2, and then or middle of stage 1 rather, the end of stage 1, and we've been clean and green here in this second stage.
Yeah, and the wave around just isn't a great option at this racetrack because you have 3 seconds of fall off. If you do the wave around at the end of the stage, you're so far off that if it runs 10 laps green, you go a lap down again anyway. So it's a tough track to have to pit under green, and it's really hard. I mean, with the limited amount of tires, the wave around is not a great option here.
Final lap, stage 2. Justin Allgaier had the fastest car, stage 1. But it was some strategy that took away the win as Harrison Burton got tires, drove through, and won that first stint of the race. But there's a no-doubter who's best in this second stage. In fact, overall on the day, fast race car, driver 7, reigning champ, last year's winner, Justin Allgaier gets it in our second stage. Christian Eckes was good. Ross Chastain finishes 3rd. Brandon Jones 4th. Harrison Burton, after winning the opening stage, finishes 5th in stage 2. It's been a great year for Chevrolet, dominating in stage competition. And Allgaier always scored stage points. He's got 19 of them this afternoon, and he's in charge at Darlington.
Yep. First in stage number 2, second in stage 1 for Allgaier, as mentioned there from Adam Alexander, 19 stage points on the day, most of any driver. 3rd stage win of the season for Allgaier, and he now tries to go for a 3rd race win on the season as well. Finished ahead of Christian Eckes by several seconds at the end of stage 2. Eckes ended up 2nd, Ross Chastain 3rd. Brandon Jones 4th, Harrison Burton after winning stage 1, 5th in stage 2. That 25 car is looking good today. Taking maybe lessons learned from his father here at the Darlington Raceway with this Xfinity Series car. Carson Quapple, 6th in the stage, gained 14 positions from the race start at the beginning of stage 2 to where he finished in the second stage. Christopher Bell, who started on the pole, ends up 7th. Chase Elliott right back to where he started in 8th. Jesse Love in 9th. And Sheldon Creed rounds out the top 10. Creed 10th at both stages, just gets 2 stage points this afternoon. Just over an hour into the race, and now just over 50 laps to go as we begin stage 3, which will be 57 laps in length. Lap 92 of 147 overall in this one. Clicking by quick in one of the quickest Xfinity races of the season. Again, just 200 miles. Third yellow, second not for an incident. Haven't had an incidental caution since just after lap 20 and the incident involving Josh Williams and Chris Wright. 5 lead changes. 14 laps under the yellow and counting. We'll have our second pit stops of the day for the drivers at the front of the field shortly. Third, for some of those that were on that tire strategy back at stage 1, Harrison Burton, Brennan Poole. Poole is still 11th, just missing out on stage points. Anthony Alfredo is also on that same pit strategy back at 14th, as well as the 91 of Josh Balicki, who is 22nd. So those 4 drivers are going to only have 1 set of tires left once we get this third stage started. 2 sets left for everybody else. We'll take a break. Pit stops again coming up shortly. You're listening live to the NASCAR Xfinity Series Sports Clips Haircuts VFW Help a Hero 200 at Darlington. This race is moving. A lot faster pace than last weekend at Martinsville. Pace of that race was not looking great at all. Had 15 cautions. 15 cautions on a half-mile short track and just 250 laps for the scheduled distance. And then we come to the track that is literally nicknamed Too Tough to Tame. And we only have 3 cautions. Crazy how that works. It goes to show that these kids have the raw ability. They just don't have the racecraft necessary to be able to make clean, efficient passes on a track that tight and narrow. Hopefully that doesn't get out of hand here again late at Darlington. We've seen some classic finishes just in the 2020s alone at Darlington Raceway in the Xfinity Series. But with the dominant car of the day out in front of the field, that could be looming tough if Justin Allgaier gets on and off of pit road quickly yet again.
CW Sports coverage of the NASCAR Xfinity Series is brought to you by Sport Clips. It's a game changer. Thread in one bag, NASCAR American Express card. And by Subway. Get the meal of the day, a legendary 6-inch sub, chips, and a drink. Only $6.99 at Subway. All set and ready to go. Final stage at Darlington for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Looking at some of the shots of the drivers in the field who have won here. And now we look at Carson Quapple's Race Fit Health Report, brought to you by Restree. We did the food, beverage, right? Let's go to the other side, the workouts that keep healthy.
Yeah, a little high-intensity training there on Mondays. Mondays are always kind of a recovery day for me when I drove, being exhausted over the weekend. But I see sauna right there, weights and upper sauna, lower sauna. Big deal on a day like today when it's hot because the heat is the biggest battle. I mean, typically your body's strong enough inside of the car, but it's the heat that breaks you down. All of a sudden, making bad decisions.
His teammate leads him down progressive pit road, Kim.
And that would be Justin Allgaier, who said, tight on into, you see him at the top of your screen, but a little free lap really when he gets to the top of both ends of the racetrack, and then late in the run, the back end of that car out of the racetrack. Pullman didn't want to take a big swing, but did want to make it a little bit better for fire off, Dylan.
Shaq is middle of the screen, said he's a little bit free into turn 3, but he almost didn't want any changes. Going to make a really, really small air pressure adjustment. He's happy. Ross Chastain said he fired off free, and then he got too loose everywhere. He couldn't get the power down. Like an air pressure adjustment and a right rear chassis adjustment to tighten him up in the 9.
And now we get the race off progressive pit road. Number 1 pit stall up there for Connor Zilic, who won the pole last week, but he's not been close enough to the front for that to be a factor. Allgaier holding his position, so does Chastain. Is full off pit road.
All right, stage 3 about to begin shortly, and we'll go through the top portion of the running order once our leaderboard, I should say specifically, will end up catching up with us. Speaking of catching up, I'm going to make sure there was no lag in the last several minutes on my feed of the race. Justin Allgaier easily won the race off pit road after winning stage 2. Will continue on as the race leader. Christian Eckes will more than likely be on the front row with him. Either way, he is still at the front of the field after finishing second in stage number 2. Brandon Jones is third. Ross Chastain fourth, and then you got Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott just behind them. Front 3 Xfinity Series regulars, and the next 3 are all Cup regulars. I hope you did not miss the diecast showing. We will get that out here shortly. First, I'm going to end the chat poll since it is the end of stage 2. 30% of the 87 votes are taking somebody other than Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, or Justin Allgaier for the win today. Elliott at 27%, Christopher Bell at 26%, 16% taking Justin Allgaier. And now the diecast showing, and I showed off the Ryan Blaney 2018 throwback paint scheme during the live commentary stream of practice and qualifying for the Cup Series earlier today. And I told you guys during that broadcast that I was going to show the original paint scheme, that this was the throwback too, and you can see the difference between the two. So this one would be the Dave Blaney Jasper scheme Ford Taurus from 2003. So here's the 2003 scheme, which obviously here at Darlington, famously enough, right behind that classic Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch finish, ended up third that day in the waning lap. So that race just waiting for the 2 to wreck in front of him. Well, they did, but it was coming to the line a little too late for Blaney to catch up. But you see the throwback scheme, and then here is the original scheme. And I also mentioned on that broadcast earlier that the only thing that I felt was, oh my gosh, it did not break. We're good. I don't know how loud that sounded on the mic. My gosh, it sounded like an avalanche. I dropped the car. I'm not used to having to shove 2 cars in the same camera. But the hood logo sponsor for Duracell versus the original Jasper is much, much different. The car is not broken. I don't think I chipped any paint on it. Oh, no, there is a chip. Very small chip of paint. I see a little bit of silver on the front bumper. It's probably not even noticeable. On camera, it is so small, but I can see it. Gosh darn it. I actually got this when I was at the NASCAR Hall of Fame back in 2019. I've had this diecast for a minute. Not the Dave Blaney one. The Dave Blaney one I actually got at Bristol a couple of years ago when I was there for the night race 23, but I can remember specifically getting this Blaney diecast, Ryan Blaney throwback scheme diecast at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Can't believe I dropped it right on my laptop too. Almost broke 2 expensive things at once. One way more expensive than the other. We're good though, nothing's broken.
The country knows a thing or two about fast.
Stream
It was
continues.
the ideal location for the opening round of Grand Slam track.
Take it to the garage. It's on the DBP clock.
World champion Michael Johnson.
I like that.
Day 1 saw Gabby Thomas win in the 200. And Sidney McLaughlin Lebroni in the 400 hurdle. Grant Fisher a late sprint in the 3000. And Kenny Bednarik winning the 100. Today on day 2, the first 4 Grand Slam champions will be determined, and it's all coming up right here after NASCAR, here on the CW.
It's all about speed today on CW. We got Darlington. We're going to Jamaica. That's going to be a great event coming your way when we're done here.
I can watch that all day long. I love watching track.
Me too, and I am in. It's time now for our race break, brought to you by Safe Light, the auto glass experts. Let's take a look at what we've seen so far. Some big moments. You always have the slipping and sliding at the track. Too tough to take.
Oh, yeah, the 3 wide on turn 4. That's the hit that got Jeff's tire cut down. You see Nick Sanchez has been in 2 of these. He's had plenty of close calls, which not uncommon here in Darlington.
Couple of penalties under caution. Safety violation for Jet Burton. He did not get the free pass. He remains 1 lap down. Nick Light's got the free pass, so he'll be back on the lead lap. Also, Jeremy Clements got a vehicle interference violation. Here's what transpired with the driver from here in South Carolina.
Oh,
Oh, just almost has, you don't really know inside the car. You're like, I think I've got him cleared, but not 100% sure.
It's like when you're pulling
You
out.
don't want to hit him.
You ask your
your
wife.
fender up too.
Right? You asked your wife, am I clear? Am I good?
Right. Yeah, right.
How about Allgaier?
he had the free pass. I don't know why he didn't just wait there, but needless to say, green flag's back in the air. Stage 3 is underway. Now, Justin Allgaier does take the inside of row 1 for the restart as a control car. The last 2 restarts, he was on the inside and took off to the lead. He was not the control car. This time gets a good launch, and Ross Chastain just behind him, his teammate for today, also gets a great launch and is up to second quickly. Chastain fired off really good on the short run the last time through, and obviously good on the long run to get up into the top 3 prior to the last restart. Now is up with the 7 and looking to make a pass for the lead off turn 4. Allgaier leads the lap at the line, but it's the 9 of Ross Chastain who's looking to clear. Chastain looking for his first lead of the race. And runs door to door with that of the 7 who has dominated the day. And down the back straightaway, the driver from 3rd, the 19 of Christopher Bell, was able to gain a few positions on the restart, and he's now in the thick of things for the lead. Chastain clears the 7 of Allgaier out in front. Allgaier going to try to get the run from the high side all the way through 3 and 4 and cross him over in 1 and 2, while Christopher Bell just behind loses ground off the exit of the turn 4 area of the racetrack and tries to regain momentum through 1 and 2 as he puts a gap over Eckes in 4th place yet again behind. First time today, Ross Chastain is leading at Darlington. Fired off well in the short run in the Xfinity Series race. A truck race, rather, back at Homestead a couple weeks ago. And a good short run car on the restarts, it seems like, for the Xfinity Series race here today as well. The 7's been better on the longer run, but now he's in 2nd place, and the 9's got the clean air for the first time. Can Chastain manage his tires better than Allgaier? Will anybody else maybe further back if they made the adjustments to Bell's car, who struggled on the long run from the start? Now that he's getting back towards the front of the field, can he compete for this? Oh boy, a lot of contact. The battle between the 39 and the 21. Hill was held down onto the apron through the center of 3 and 4. The car slipped out from underneath him. Crowded Ryan Sieg. Somehow both of them kept from making significant contact with one another and kept it off the outside wall. Hill lost a couple of positions. Sieg only really lost 1 out of that. And they are now 12th and 15th respectively. And like it was just the 21 driving it in too deep. 39 was going to the hash line to maybe make a move on the 00 of Creed in front of him. And really took that 21 car's line away. There was a little bit of contact between the 2 cars, but again, they kept it off the outside wall, and big thing is not enough contact to cut either one of their tires down, which is also good. Brandon Jones will pass for 4th on Christian Eckes, who was 2nd at the end of stage 2. 43 laps to go at the start-finish line this time by. Jones is clear. Quiet but solid day for Brandon. He's been up in the top 5 all day, qualified 2nd. Good run to the finish ensuing for him. And now Chase Elliott in the 17, trying to move back in the top 5 for the first time since that first green flag run to start the race real early in the afternoon. He's on the inside of Eckes for 5th. And he is not going to complete the pass off turn 4. No, he does. He slams the door shut. He is clear. So Chase Elliott is back in the top 5. We'll go through the full field running order here quickly. Again, Ross Chastain is the leader, 0.4 of a second ahead of Justin Allgaier, and 0.6 of a second ahead of Christopher Bell in 3rd. Brandon Jones is 4th, Chase Elliott 5th, Christian Eckes in 6th. So we scroll down the screen here. 7th is Jesse Love, Sammy Smith 8th, Nick Sanchez 9th, Carson Kvapil 10th. Connor Zillage 11th, Ryan Sieg 12th, Sheldon Creed 13th, Sam Mayer 14th, and 15th is Austin Hill. Daniel Dye 16th, 17th for Brennan Poole. Harrison Burt 18th, 19th Taylor Gray, and Anthony Alfredo in 20th. Parker Retzlaff 21st, Josh Balicki 22nd, Matt DiBenedetto 23rd, Dean Thompson 24th, Leland Honeyman 25th, Ryan Ellis 26th, Kyle Sieg 27th, William Sawalich 28th, Jeremy Clements 29th, and Josh Williams 30th. Mason Massey 31st, Garrett Smithley 32nd, Blaine Perkins 33rd, Nick Lights 34th, and Jeff Burton 35th, 1 lap down. Also a lap down is David Starr at 36th, Greg Van Alls 2 laps down at 37th, and Chris Wright still the only car out of the race, 38th. 39 laps to go at Darlington Raceway in the Help a Hero 200 presented by Sports Clips. 8 lead changes, 3 cautions, 1 for incident back at stage 1. About an hour and 20 minutes from the initial drop of the green flag to where we are currently. 20 laps spent under the yellow. And again, the lead is just a few tenths of a second between the JRM Chevys of Ross Chastain, the current race leader, in second place, Justin Allgaier. Christopher Bell still within about 6/10 of a second of the lead. Tight battle. Who can manage their tires better? And what kind of a show are we going to see down the road? Should be a good one. Listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 49 likes on the stream. We're 1 away from our goal of 50. Be sure to hit the like button. We've got over 100 people in the chat. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Live NASCAR commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend for Truck, Xfinity, and Cup races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying, which took place earlier today at Darlington. Truck Series out of action this week, but they'll be back for Bristol next week, and we'll have all 3 series and a full 4 stream total for next weekend once again. Our Cup Series race coverage will begin at 2:30 p.m. Eastern with our pre-race tomorrow in the afternoon. Still 37 laps to go. Christopher Bell closed a bit on Justin Allgaier that last lap. Runs directly behind him as the field enters turns 3 and 4 rather. Bell takes a look to the inside. Trying to make the pass, not quite going to make it. He can't stay alongside the 7 as well. He'll drift back up in line behind him. Chastain still trying to hold on in the clean air just in front. And we've got trouble off turn 4. Taylor Gray is around. And he does hit the inside wall with the left front of his race car. He didn't nose into the wall, but he slapped the left front, and then the left rear hit soon after. There's a donut on the driver's side door of that 54. We have to wait and see exactly what happened. But caution flag is out for just the 4th time today, and again, only our 2nd for incident, as I was alluding to just a little bit ago. First caution for incident since all the way back in the middle of stage 1. Much cleaner race this week than what we had last. And quite a bit of damage to that left front. And repairs are going to have to be made for the gray 54 car. Taylor still has the fastest lap of the race. Just wasn't clear off turn 4. Kind of turned himself off the front bumper of Daniel Dye in the 10. Tried to make the slide job pass off turn 4 as he was sliding wide. Just wasn't clear. It did look like Dye might have came off the wall a little bit, but Gray was also coming up, and I would still put most of the blame on Taylor. Heartbreaker a week ago, and dominated the race by leading the most laps. Second most laps of any driver, but put him to almost 100 laps led on the season, mainly with just Martinsville alone. More than likely going to fall off the lead lap with damage repairs having to be made under this caution. It was a battle for 17th. Gray was not having a very good performance today, despite qualifying in the front couple rows. I mentioned earlier that he had the fastest lap of the race. It was all the way back on lap 2, 30.6 flat. And that lap time may hold to get the bonus point for the Xfinity fastest lap, but I don't think that's really going to matter for him anymore. All right, so Ross Chastain and Justin Allgaier at the front of the field will lead their way to pit road. Each of these teams have 2 sets of tires left. Most of the teams have 2 sets of tires left. Very few have 1. This is a concerning caution for Harrison Burton, who had actually fallen back on this last restart after finishing 5th in stage 2. He was 15th. Brennan Poole also only going to have 1 set of tires left unless they choose to stay out and hope for another caution. But you can't really do that because they're going to go all the way to the tail end of the field. And they're going to lose so much track position. So they're kind of pinned to have to pit now and hope it stays green. Pit road is open.
Into turn 3. Want to get that every time here.
Ross Chastain leading him down progressive pit road. Let's go to Kim.
But at the top of your screen, you see that red and white Chevrolet of Justin Allgaier. He said way worse on balance with the adjustment we went back on. Remember, they did a very small adjustment that last step. So 4 fresh Goodyear tires, snow fuel. They also put tape on the front to put a little speed in it, is what Jim Holden told his driver, Dylan.
Eric Christopher Bell, all he said, we need a good pit stop and clean air with the race car the way it is right now. 4 tires and fuel for him in the 19. Ross Chastain was tighter than the last run, but wasn't too tight, he said. They're going to make a little air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and fuel for the 9. Here's the race off pit road.
The race on progressive pit road. Christopher Bell said, give me a good pit stop. That is what is going to win this race. And look at this. Harrison Burton jumps out front. Plus 14. We'll have to figure out what happened there. Because if you go back to that last pit stop they made, they lost a lot of time. And speaking of losing time with the pit lane, Allgaier had some issues. 7 through with the ball. And there it is, crew member falling down, coming around the front side of the car. Tough break for our defending race winner.
17 dropped the jack. The splitter was over the hose of the tire changer's air gun. And so when he tried to ground the right side of the car to the left side of the car, he tripped over the air hose, which was trapped under the car. And then they had to rejack the left side, pull it out. So that was the reason for the slow stop on the 7. After dominating the race, losing the lead on the restart, but still maintaining in second, very close behind the leader, Chastain, up until that last caution, now is going to have to be at a much bigger deficit. And it looks like 16th place is where Justin Allgaier sits, leaving pit road, losing 15 positions. And although he had the fastest car in the field, it's going to be very, very difficult to get into contention for the win with what will probably be less than 30 laps to go in the restart. And 16th place is where Allgaier runs. Started towards the front of the field in the 3rd place position. He has led the most laps so far today. But he is definitely going to be at a very, very huge deficit with not a lot of time left. As far as trying to get the win, he'll still probably get a good finish as long as he doesn't get into an incident. Cut a tire or anything of that nature, but as far as trying to get the win goes, I don't know. 15th might not be that far back, but it's tough to pass at Darlington. He doesn't have fresher tires. He's got equal tires as everybody else in front of him, and having the fastest car in the field will help. But we'll see by how much. 56 laps led today, by the way, for Allgaier. Harrison Burton is led for 12. He was a Stage 1 winner on pit strategy. Pit strategy is going to get him the lead, at least for the short term on the restart. I believe they went fuel only, which means that Harrison Burton's going to save a set of tires, which is an interesting strategy call. So fuel only wins him the race off the pits. And he still has the same amount of tires left as the rest of the field. Probably hoping that we get a quick caution after several laps where the leaders stay out and he hits pit road is what I imagine the strategy call was made for the 25 going fuel only. And that could jack up one of these lines on the restart if he does not get going. And whoever may be alongside of him, which it could be Brandon Jones, might be able to take the advantage of it. Brandon Jones has not led yet today. Well, he's led 2 laps, but I guess that would have been on pit road. He hasn't outright made a pass for the lead. But Jones is in second and might be able to pounce to the lead here quickly. scuff tires. It must have been scuff rights only then, because he was outside the top 10 when he pitted. No way he would have gained that many positions with taking 4 tires. Still not going to work out very well for him. And the launch out of the restart zone is going to be the big question mark for Harrison Burton. We're going to get to the restart. We're going to have exactly 30 laps remaining. Behind Burton is Chase Elliott and Jesse Love in the outside row, where the inside row, again, is Brandon Jones, Christopher Bell, and Ross Chastain, who was leading at the time of the last caution. He, too, lost some ground in the pits. Green flag back in the air. Elliott got nearly into the back of the 25, 3 wide down into the first turn. Burton in the middle. Slides up into the outside. They get jacked up just behind him. More contact. Connor Zilic was in the outside lane as he got contacted underneath. Looked like by his teammate Sammy Smith, perhaps. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Brandon Jones out in the lead and caution behind 14 cars around entering turn 3. Garrett Smithley driving that 14. And that was towards the back of the pack, and I almost wonder if it might have been from the stack up ahead caused by Harrison Burton on the restart. Chase Elliott leaning on Ross Chastain under the caution might not be happy about something that happened on the restart. Have to take a look at the replay, see what happened. That's a battle for third between Elliott and Chastain. These two have a history. Still hitting him under caution. Very lightly, but definitely showing his displeasure. So Elliott got to the outside. Chastain was down to the bottom. Chastain slid up. Went off camera there. Let's see what happened between the 1 and the 17. The reason for the caution, it looked like the 14 maybe came down on top of the 71 entering turn 3. They were 3 wide. Spun himself on entry into the corner. I'd imagine that the 9 slid up into the 17. I don't know if he might have pushed him into the wall or just made contact, but Harrison Burton got his quick caution, but I don't know that that's how quick he wanted it. Didn't even get a full lap of green flag racing and following that restart. Harrison might try to hold on for one more restart. It's going to be interesting. Had he not lost track position at the beginning of stage 3, I think he would have just taken tires like everybody else, but falling out of the top 10, I think, is what led to that desperation move on the strategy side of things for the 25 team. Still keeping the car clean to this point, even with a mad scramble on the last restart. And again, Brandon Jones is our race leader now with 27 laps to go under the caution, our 5th of the day. Back-to-back yellows here in the late going of stage 3. Kind of middle going of stage 3, really, because this final stage was only 57 laps. And we are 30 laps into it. Delbert in the chat says 4 more cautions. I hope not. Seems like a lot for how late in the race we are. I won't see that many. That might turn into last week all over again. I don't think we want that. We can get a good Darlington finish here with these Xfinity Series cars without having to have caution after caution after caution. Hopefully this is the end and not the... So top 10 for this next restart. Brandon Jones is in the lead. Christopher Bell 2nd. Ross Chastain 3rd. Chase Elliott 4th. Jesse Love 5th. Christian Eck is 6th. Connor Zilic quietly back up to 7th. Harrison Burton only fell to 8th on that last restart. Carson Kvapil 9th. And Ryan Sieg rounds out the top 10. The lead change on the restart, Jones taking it away from Harrison Burton. Now gives us 10 lead changes on the day. With, again, now the 5th caution. Just over an hour and a half into the race, lap 121 of 147. We'll take another quick break. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Xfinity Series in Darlington. I just saw that comment about the diecast getting the Keegan stripe instead of the Darlington stripe. That's another good one. Definitely have a good diecast showing for tomorrow that you guys are going to like on the stream. Another Darlington throwback scheme from these Southern 500 or Goodyear 400 years. I don't have any Goodyear 400 ones because those are all the next gen. I don't have a next gen diecast yet. I need to get on that, especially with the Blaney side of things of being a Ryan Blaney fan. I mean, we're in the 4th year now. I need to get a championship diecast for him. That's what I need to do. That'll be on my season bucket list for my diecast hunting when I go to races this year. Get myself a Ryan Blaney 2023 championship win diecast. Should be getting the one to go signal this time by. Shouldn't be a lot of cleanup from the last yellow considering it's kind of a lazy spin down to the inside of the track. Not really any debris to pick up.
By the way, inside the
Wasn't sure if there might have been radio communications with the 9 and the 17 there. Showing a replay finally of the Chastain and Elliott portion of the restart. Chastain sliding up, clearing the 17. If that's all he's upset about, I don't understand. I mean, that was a... See, here's the thing. When you have a reputation like Ross Chastain has, even when you make aggressive moves that look clean, guys still aren't going to like it. And I feel like in the event of Chase Elliott there, I don't think Ross did anything wrong. There's a slide job that we see drivers pull at Darlington. That's what you have to do to make a pass, and he made it clean. And Chase probably cut him a break. I'm sure he got out of the gas a little extra. He doesn't have to cut him that break. But I don't think it's anything egregious, and I don't think... I mean, there was no contact between the two cars, so... To me, that's a clean move. All right, crowd on their feet again. 24 laps to go on this restart now. 6 laps were ticked away under the caution. Brandon Jones will be inside of row 1 this time as a control car, and his teammate Christopher Bell, who started on the pole, to the outside. Bell has not led since that first caution of the day, and all the green flag laps have led from the start to that point. Jelson Allgaier picked up a few spots, but is just outside the top 10 still, trying to come back after a slow pit stop where the team lost 15 positions under the yellow flag pit stops. Most of these teams still have 1 set of tires left at the end as well if we do get a decent green flag run this time before a caution. Last run was obviously too short with the yellow coming out on the first lap following the restart. 23 to go at the line now as Brandon Jones leads the first lap following the restart. Chastain quickly taking a move to the inside of Christopher Bell as Bell slammed the door shut off turn 4 on the high side. Chastain going to try to slide up and take Bell's line away. Now that one was dirty. That one, he knocked Bell up into the wall, and Bell's got a damaged left front fender. That one was... Now, if he did that to Chase Elliott on the last restart, I can understand the frustration. Christopher Bell is probably going to have to come to pit road, or that left front tire is not going to make it. It's smoking quite violently in the middle of the corner. Still holds on to third until now. Christian Eckes is going to look to get by him in turns 1 and 2. Bell sails it in deep into the corner to hold the position on the outside. But that tire rub is not going away anytime soon. How much longer is the 19 going to be able to tough it out for? Yeah, that last one was definitely dirty for Chastain. The one before that... On Chase Elliott, maybe not so much. Eckes made a nice pass on Chase Elliott, excuse me, on that restart as well. My goodness. Well, Chastain, after making the pass on Christopher Bell, clean or not, is going for the lead on Brandon Jones. Looks to the high side. Jones gave it to him. Exit of the corner. Ross powers through, and he's out in front with 20 to go. Clean move. I'm surprised Brandon Jones didn't try to take the top line away from him. Maybe he was scared of getting squeezed into the wall like he might have saw out of the rearview mirror behind him. In that case, I probably don't blame him. But Chastain, who has had probably the best short-run car throughout the course of the race today, we hadn't seen to the front of the field until the beginning of Stage 3, has taken control of now 2 restarts in the final 50 laps. Within a handful of laps, is able to get to the lead and extends it by a couple tenths that last lap as well over Brandon Jones. Chase Elliott trying to put a battle back to Christian Eckes in the 19 for 4th. Christopher Bell in 3rd, still hanging on, and now we have a caution again with 19 laps to go. Couple cars involved in this one. Pretty big hit for the 70 against the outside wall. That's Leland Honeyman. Josh Williams in the 11 involved in another incident. This one with more significant damage than the first back at Stage 1. And then the 42 of Anthony Alfredo in the Silver Bullet throwback scheme. Damaged as well. At least 3 cars involved, maybe more. It was mid to back of the pack where this took place between Alfredo, Honeyman, and Williams. Kyle Sieg has damage on the right front. In the Davey Allison throwback. At least 4 cars involved then. We'll see how this started. Nearly 3 wide getting into turn 1. It actually looked like the 70 of Honeyman clipped the left rear of Harrison Burton. Burton was able to barely keep control of his car. Unfortunately, Honeyman just went straight up into the outside wall and nowhere to go for a couple of those cars behind him. Williams, who was already on the outside, ran right into the back of him. And Sieg and Williams, obviously the front bumper damage. Sieg had gotten into the back of the 70 on his way up the racetrack. Then Williams after he had hit the wall. So under caution again, our 3rd yellow in the final 40 laps of this race, 35 laps or so. Very start-stop like we saw last week at Martinsville. Hasn't gotten out of control yet, but hopefully we don't have to get to that point. Interesting dilemma now. We went a handful of laps on that last restart. Most of these teams have 1 set of tires left. Who pits and who stays out? If any stay out. We went green with 24 to go, and the caution came out, I believe, with 19 to go. So we went 5 laps, and then we had almost a full lap on the restart before that. So about 6 green flag lap older tires if you are to stay out versus 6 green flag lap fresher tires if you pit. What's the Darlington stripe count? No idea. A lot. It's a lot. No way for me to keep track. I haven't seen any sort of ticker indicating on the CW broadcast either. Almost every leader's coming in.
And here's the money stop for a crew that has been good all day, gaining Brandon Jones' spots. You see him at the top there. He said just a little bit snug. He and crew chief Sam McCauley agreed need to be freed up for this last short run. Dylan, 4 fresh tires.
Christopher Bell in the middle of the screen said, I am plowing tight after Ross finched me. I need a big adjustment to get this thing to turn better here. So I'm going to change right sides and waiting for a wrench in the back window. Don't see one there. We'll change left side as well. Ross Chastain said that he was pretty happy there. Felt like he could work the throttle and modulate the pedal to fix any issues that he had. So not going to make any changes on the 9.
We get the race off Progressive Pit Road. And all of these drivers running at the front have been back down the pit lane.
There's contact between the 19 and the 9 right there on pit road again.
Yeah, there hasn't been a ton of drama watching them come because they're done with their service so far back down the pit lane. But look at this as they exit. Really nowhere to go. And lost in it all as there's contact on pit road. 3 drivers getting together. Brandon Jones' team delivers once again. He has the top spot as we get set for the green flag. Going to be right around 15 to go.
I wonder what the Christopher Bell radio call sounded like there, because I can't imagine he's too happy. Contact on track, contact on pit road, all on that left front fender of Bell at the hands of the 9 of Ross Chastain. Quite a few spots lost, though, for Chastain, who took the lead on that last restart. He lost several positions, and Brandon Jones wins the race back on pit road. Several cars stayed out completely. And are going to save that last set of tires to the end of the race. Some don't have that set of tires. I believe Brendan Poole, Josh Bilicki did not have any left, so they're on old tires regardless. I do believe Jeb Burton has a set of tires remaining, so he's saving it. Kyle Sieg also pitted back at stage 1, so he would be on old tires for the sake of not having another set. And so Brandon Jones, who won the race off pit road, will restart 7th. And Chase Elliott, who was second off pit road, will be right behind him with Justin Allgaier and Carson Kvapil. And this is the chance for Justin Allgaier to get back into this race, because now he's restarting mid-pack with a lot of the other drivers who were around him for most of this race. If not, he was already ahead of. And now he's caught back up with the waning yellow flags in the final 35 laps. Again, 3 of them since about 35 to go. And this restart will come with just more than 10 laps left, and I don't see any of those top 6 hanging on for more than a lap or 2 at the most on their old tires, even though it's only 6 laps. Of those, Brendan Poole has probably had the best car, but even that would be a borderline top 10 car. He was 11th at the end of stage 2. And obviously was 3rd at the end of stage 1 on pit strategy, which is the reason why he doesn't have that extra set of tires left for this final restart at the end of the race, which is why he leads after staying out of the pits. Yeah, this is going to be very, very dicey. Hopefully we don't get another caution, but my hopes are very high. They've still not yet gotten the 1-to-go signal, which might only ratchet things up more and more closer we get to the finish, because that's going to be less green flag laps had for these drivers to try to get back to the front of the field and race amongst each other that are also trying to get to the front on the fresh Goodyears. Probably 12 laps to go on the restart, I'd assume, with getting the 1-to-go this time by instead. And again, front row should be Brendan Poole and Jeb Burton. Or in the respect of the throwback schemes, it'll be Jeff Gordon and Ward Burton on the front row. Throwing it back to the 90s. Guess the Gordon throwback scheme was from 2001. But obviously these two racing against each other back in the 90s through the early to mid 2000s. All right, so they did get the 1-to-go signal as expected that time. Poole takes the outside of row 1. Brandon Jones will be inside of row 2. And he will be the first driver on 4 fresh tires. The top 3 cars in the outside row, all old tires. So a vast majority of the drivers on fresh Goodyears behind them all taking the inside. Ross Chastain outside of row 4 will be the first of those on 4 fresh Goodyears behind the slower cars. It's going to be a land rush for turn 1. Well, we'll see how this goes. Allgaier looking for another comeback win after a mistake on pit road. We either see him fight through adversity, almost every Xfinity win he has, or loses a race that he dominates, like we've seen a couple of times this year as well. As we get to the green flag, again, the race starter will be Brennan Poole. 12 to go. At the track, too tough to tame. Green flag is in the air. Pretty decent launch for Brennan Poole. Brandon Jones inside of row 2, not going to waste much time. A lot of contact, 3 wide in the middle of the pack already around Christopher Bell and Nick Sanchez. Chastain up the middle, 3 wide where he's at. Out in the lead is actually going to be Jeb Burton off of turn 2, beating Poole. And so Burton leads down the backstretch into 3. Brandon Jones to 2nd, then Chase Elliott 3rd, and Justin Allgaier 4th. Elliott looking to the inside of Brandon Jones into turn 3, can't get him. Jones now to the inside for the lead on Jeb Burton as they exit the corner. At the start-finish line, Jones leads the lap by inches on the bottom. And he will clear for the lead into turn 1. Chase Elliott will try to go for 2nd and clear up off of turn 2. This is by far the highest Chase Elliott has ran in the order today, up to 2nd off the exit of turn 2. Allgaier to 3rd. Burton will hold in 4th for now until he loses more spots with fresh tire cars coming behind him. Chastain, who had the fastest short-run car for most of this day, especially in Stage 3, lost track position on pit road. He is now going to be in 4th once he gets by the 27 car on the old tires in front of him. And so Brandon Jones out in front of the field, 2nd different time today, each of the last 2 restarts. Can he hold on for longer than he did the last one? With either series veterans Justin Allgaier behind him or Cup veterans Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain in the rear view. Tough competition for Jones to hold on to get his first win in a few seasons in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. It'd be his first since he ran back at JGR in the 2022 season. Missed the playoffs in both of his seasons with Junior Motorsports in 2023 and 2024. Obviously, a win today would punch his ticket to the playoffs here in 25. Justin Allgaier looking for 2nd on the inside of Elliott, and what Jones needs is these 2 to battle hard for that 2nd place position. Allgaier couldn't make the pass and slips up, and he'll lose time down the front straightaway to that of Elliott in front of him. Just over a 1-second lead for Brandon Jones. There's no tire management here. This is a short 12-lap dash to the finish. And it's balls to the wall from here to the checker. Foot to the floorboard. At least down the straightaways. Obviously, you can't hold full throttle around this racetrack, but I'm pretty sure you get what I meant. Swapple not letting Chastain get away from him in a battle for 4th as well. Took a peek to the inside in 3 and 4, just like Allgaier did for 2nd a lap ago on Elliott. Couldn't make the pass, lost some time down the front straightaway, and now has to take the time to get it back. That last lap, Brandon Jones was about 0.2 quicker than Chase Elliott in 2nd. Allgaier just a little bit quicker than Chase Elliott, just in front of him again. Bell got up against the wall off turn 2, loses several more positions. He's had a rough go of it here in the final closing laps of this race. Chastain squeezing him up against the wall, damage on pit road, and now he's outside the top 10. 3 wide going on underneath him as well as Bell continues to lose more time. He had contact on the restart from the 48 of Nick Sanchez. I forgot about that. So much has happened already since then, and more time, unfortunately, has been lost for him. Bell was my pick to win the race today and was looking like he had something of a chance late. And then Chastain happened. And then the pit stops happened, and then the restart happened, and it's all snowballing from there. Pretty even in the lap times, the last 2 to 3 laps between Elliott and Jones at the front of the field. 4 laps to go this time by for Brandon Jones to hold on. He's got a 1.2 second lead over Elliott still. He's managing his gap well with the former Cup Series champion behind him. I don't think that Elliott's got the car to get to him But surprisingly, Elliott has actually put some distance over Justin Allgaier, who might have had the better car of the top two for most of the day. Got to third on the restart, pressured Elliott for a lap, and has since now fallen back over a half a second behind where the 17 car is on track. 3 to go for Brandon Jones at the line. He's had great runs at Darlington with JGR when he was in the 19 car in his first stint with the team. So part of a couple of those classic finishes at Darlington in the early 2020s. And try not to let this one get to a classic down the stretch here in 2025. And the Matt Kenseth throwback scheme for Jones, his last win was almost a year ago to this weekend, April 8th of 2022 in the Spring Martinsville race. Almost 3 calendar years, nearly to the day. Looking to get to that white flag. He's got a 1.3 second lead. He extended it over Elliott that last lap again slightly. Elliott continues to build a bridge between himself and the third place car of Allgaier. He's over a second ahead of him. Chastain might have a chance to catch Justin, although he seems to be even a little too far back. And Chastain is pulled away from Quapple. They had a battle going on for fourth for a couple laps there. Top 5 or 6 cars fairly spaced apart, evenly at that. Final lap now for Brandon Jones as he exits turn 2. One more corner to go for Brandon Jones. He's about to be the 7th different winner in the NASCAR Xfinity Series already this season. 6 different winners, I should say, and it'll be the 5th to clinch a playoff spot as an Xfinity Series regular. Checkered flag is waving, and Brandon Jones is going to win at Darlington. Way to go, Brandon Jones. First win in almost 3 years. Second win for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series this season. And the first since that Phoenix photo finish when Eric Almirola got the team's first victory of the year. 20 car wins today. Will a 20 win tomorrow with Christopher Bell as well? We'll have to wait and see. Good start to the weekend for JGR. Usually they're used to Cup guys in their JGR cars in the Xfinity Series level winning here at Darlington. But today, again, it is Brandon Jones. Margin of victory, 1.1 seconds. Total time on the race, 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 55 seconds. 6 cautions total. 4 per incident, 3 of them in the final stage, 1 in stage 1. The 2 stage yellows at lap 90 and lap 45. Again, 14 lead changes, 36 laps under caution. We finish under the regulation length of 200 miles, 147 laps. Brandon Jones might not have had the best car throughout most of the day, but he was running the quickest laps of anybody at the finish. He leads 24, and he gets the win. Chase Elliott in second, Justin Allgaier third, Ross Chastain fourth, and Carson Quapple rounds out the top 5. Connor Zilic with a quiet but good run in 6th, 7th for Christian Eckes, Nick Sanchez 8th, Sammy Smith 9th, and Sheldon Creed 10th. Jesse Love 11th, Ryan Sieg 12th, Harrison Burton 13th, Sam Mayer 14th, and Jeb Burton 15th. 16th, Austin Hill, Daniel Dye 17th, Dean Thompson 18th, Brennan Poole 19th, and Parker Retzlaff 20th. Jeremy Clements 21st, Ryan Ellis 22nd, Matt DiBenedetto 23rd, Josh Bilicki 24th, and Christopher Bell fell back to 25th on that final run. David Starr 26th, Nick Lights 27th, Blaine Perkins 28th, Mason Massey 29th, and Kyle Segan 30th. Anthony Alfredo 31st, Garrett Smithley 32nd, Taylor Gray last car finishing on the lead lap in 33rd. Greg Van also lap down in 34th, 8 laps down for William Sawalich in 35th, 10 laps down for Josh Williams at 36th. Leland Honeyman DNF following his crash late in 37th, and Chris Wright finishes 38th with a DNF after his crash in stage 1. So only 2 DNFs total in the race. Again, 33 cars finish on the lead lap. And you'll hear from your race winner, Brandon Jones, as he climbs out of the car on the front stretch here at Darlington.
Wow. Your second Darlington win, but this one is special. It ends a 98 race winless streak that dates back to 2022. What's the emotion right now getting back to victory lane?
it's all for my confidence, right? But it's also nice to prove some haters and some people that said that I wasn't capable of doing it wrong again. So this race team has had it coming for a long time. Sam McCauley's one hell of a crew chief. Had so many seconds last year, so glad I got that off my back to get him a win as a crew chief. This place is freaking awesome, man. I love coming to Darlington. Second win. Yeah, this is huge momentum. I knew we were on a high. I know it's going to happen. So all in all.
As he gets a hug and a kiss.
Turtle Wax, Menards.
It just goes right into the sponsor read.
We're going to celebrate this one big.
I have to ask, because it did feel like your confidence wavered. In fact, you made a point during practice today to say that you were knocking on the door of a win. When there were doubters, like you mentioned out there, how did you stay true to yourself and true to this team?
Yeah, it's a group effort. It's not just me. I mean, I put loads and loads of time into being mentally tough to get through 2 tough years like I just came off of and no wins, right? And to be able to come back and sit in the 20 car with my dad. I don't think he's ever been here for an Xfinity race, and he's here this weekend for the first win that he gets to see, I think. So, yeah, it's just lot of emotion. But yeah, this is tons of late nights. This is a lot of midnights and going to bed really late to try to just stay tough and to continue to grind this out and to get our first win here for the season.
Enjoy it. That's Brandon Jones, a winner here at Darlington Raceway.
That will be a popular win in the garage, and you gotta love it. Wife Ashley cut.
I believe Taylor Gray, by the way, in the chat, somebody asked me about who had the fastest lap for that bonus point. I believe Taylor Gray did hang on to it, that 36 back on lap 2. Some of the laps Brandon Jones was clicking away there late were close. See some 36.18s by Bell was very close, 6.33. But yeah, I don't see any more 6 flats or less than that. So I believe Taylor Gray gets the bonus point, which not a great finish for him with the damage and the wreck that he had here in stage 3. But he gets an extra point, to say the least, and had speed at least in the beginning. Appreciate everybody that tuned in throughout the course of our live commentary stream for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Darlington Raceway. We'll be live again tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern for the beginning of our pre-race coverage, leading into the full flag-to-flag commentary, the Goodyear 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series side of things. This ends our doubleheader Saturday of live streaming, again with this Xfinity race today, and obviously Cup practice and qualifying earlier today as well. So hope to see you for that and much more throughout the weekend, throughout the rest of the year. Thank you so much, everybody. Hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Although we did get to our goal of 50 likes on the stream, we're currently at 59 as we close things out. Subscribe as well for more daily NASCAR content. And again, see you tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 21 hours or so from now for our main event of the NASCAR race weekend. Enjoy. Have a good Saturday night, everyone.